They say video killed the radio star, but I think video also killed this podcast crew's faith in my movie picks. Sean on Video Horror on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention Planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Hey, hello, videophiles, and welcome to episode 212 of Attack of the Killer Podcast. We will be discussing the very unique genre of horror films shot on video.
What is that?
That
What
is-
is this video you speak of?
See, kids, a long time ago, there was these things called VCRs, or video cassette recorders. Anyway, so how we do this here on Attack of the Killer Podcast is we pick a topic, we discuss 3 movies within the topic, and now we're all friends here on the show, so we talk as if we were just hanging out talking about movies. So there's more than likely going to be spoilers. So I'm warning you now, because if you haven't seen these movies before, you do not want them spoiled for you.
And you don't want to see them, just a heads up.
That'll be debated later.
No, you'll wish you would only hear us talk about it instead of having to watch it.
We'll discuss it. And I'm a huge fan of this genre, movies that are shot on video. And so it was really hard for me to narrow it down to just 3, but I believe that I picked 3 amazing films for this topic. Now, if you want to be an attacker, an official supporter of the show, and a member of Attack of the Killer Podcast, you can by going to jointheattackers.com. That's jointheattackers.com.
LMNOP.
If you become a supporter of the show, you can get all kinds of cool stuff, extra content, and stuff that's exclusive to you guys, the attackers. So again, go to JOIN.
If you can't get enough, go to that website, Join the Attackers.
All right, fine. So now it is time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He prefers grainy, blurry pictures with white noise on the audio over that 4K nonsense. Jason!
Heyo, everybody, what's up? What's up? Thanks for listening, and just apologize in advance.
Notice he didn't argue because he really didn't listen to his intro.
Nope. Let's messing with this audio.
He's going to sit around a campfire or in a dark room and tell us an urban legend as a way to give us the whole story and plot without actually showing anything. Tad.
Hi.
Hello.
And lastly, a man who has Please Be Kind and Rewind on his family crest, Andy.
Absolutely. Hi.
I believe that.
Rewind that shit.
That's right. Oh, just real quick. I'm so excited. Brandy and I went garage sale shopping here a couple weekends ago, something like that,
Mhm.
and found what I've always wanted in my life. One of those race car VHS rewinders.
We have one.
So cool.
You hunt and you finally get lucky and find one.
I know. It's awesome. And it was relevant, so that's why I brought it up. So, it's time for that segment, What We Watched. But first, I want to mention our sponsor, Shudder. Shudder, it's the Netflix for horror. And it's my favorite streaming service for all things horror. And will probably get mentioned several times during What We Watched. You can keep up with What We Watched on Shudder and get the first month for free thanks to your good buddies here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Just enter our promo code AOTKP and you'll get a month of Shudder on us. But now here's Tad with the segment What We Watched.
Welcome to What We Watched, where we do a roundtable discussion about what we've watched that doesn't pertain to this episode. I'm just going to go first because I never get to go first. So I've watched quite a bit, but I'm going to keep it short as I try to every time, and pick out some highlights. I watched the new ESPN 30 for 30 documentary Be Water about Bruce Lee.
Me too.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic, really well done. Sort of a tearjerker, pulls on the heartstrings because his story is very sad and tragic, and it's also a lot of great uplifting stuff too. But how it ends, we all know sort of how it ends. But definitely check that out if you have ESPN Plus. It's on there. If you just have ESPN, you can watch it on demand. Highly recommend it. Of course, watched all the Joe Bob stuff. So we finally got to see Hogzilla. We could do a whole episode on that. That was very bad, but perfect for his show because of what it was. And
Yeah.
they packaged it with Scare Package, which was another premiere on Shudder, which was a lot of fun. A lot of short horror filmmakers that we know from our film festival circuit got together and made a new anthology that's fantastic, and it happens to have Joe Bob in it too. So it was a very Joe Bob night. Saw the new Hulu Into the Dark episode. I guess you call it episode. It's a new movie called Good Boy. And it has Judy Greer, and it's very simple plot. Basically, she adopts a dog. Turns out the dog is not just any normal dog. It is a very protective monster dog. Everybody around her starts to end up dead, and they're not sure why. And well, I won't spoil the end, but that's what you get from the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But it's very simple, very fun. I'm a dog lover, so the movie is a lot of fun for me, and I just like Judy Greer.
Pat's not selling it. What he forgot to say is it also stars Steve Guttenberg.
Sold.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Mahoney's in it. All
I
right.
liked it.
Yeah, you think of it's sort of a monster movie, but with a adorable little dog that has more to him. What was his name? I forget. It's like something adorable. It's like Waffles or something.
Like Nibbles.
It's named after like a food that the dog eats or something. I think eats off. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I revisited one of my favorite movies for another podcast. It Follows. I could probably watch that every couple of months. I just love that movie. Revisited Who Framed Roger Rabbit on Disney Plus. It's been a long time since I saw that, but I watched the Prop Culture episode of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and man, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. It's sort of one of those movies where you're like, yeah, I remember that movie, and then the more you think about it, it's like the less you realize. It's like, yeah, I don't really know what the hell that's about. I haven't seen it in so long. I don't really remember anything. So Nikki and I rewatched it. It doesn't really hold up that great, but it's definitely something, a big part of pop culture, an important part of movie history, I would say. It's crazy to sort of see the Disney characters and the Looney Tunes, all of those different animated characters all in one movie. Like the licensing must have been a nightmare. That's all I can think when I watch it. And then what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say a little fun fact. Roger Rabbit was actually murdered in the book.
Yeah, they talk a little bit about that in the Prop Culture thing, the history of how the character was animated. And I really did not know any of the backstory about it until I watched this episode. And it didn't make it any less creepy that this like goofy rabbit's married to a hot redhead. But yeah, the movie, a lot of it just doesn't make much sense. But it's still a fun watch. I mean, everybody's seen it, so I don't have to go on about that. The other ones I have watched, revisited Love and Mercy, the biopic about Brian Wilson. Absolutely love that movie. It was Brian's birthday on Saturday, so I popped it on about 2 a.m. and it kept me going, didn't fall asleep. I love that movie, highly recommend it. And the last one I watched was last night. I watched Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, which is on Shudder, the documentary about the making of Nightmare 2. Have you guys watched that yet?
I did, yes.
I
I also did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good, and it's like I see a lot of people I know from the horror community in it, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's another sad one, but there's a lot of really good information in it, and it's very engaging, and it makes me miss conventions and seeing my friends. So,
Yeah.
It sure
Yeah.
does.
but that's what I watched. I'm going to kick it over to Mike. What have you watched?
Well, I too watched the Joe Bob stuff, and this will be the last episode for a while. You'll hear us say that because
Until next month.
Yeah. Oh, that soon. The
They're-
summer
yeah,
one's next
They're doing a
month?
summer one in July. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hooray!
Awesome. I thought it was going to be later than that, but I knew the summer thing was coming up. But I just wanted to bring it up because it was awesome getting to watch Hellbound Hellraiser 2 again. I haven't watched that in so long. There's so much I've forgotten about that movie, and I think I've said it all my life, but I'm going to say it here again. I think I like 2 better than 1.
Absolutely.
I've always
Yeah.
thought that too.
My only complaint is like Pinhead and the Cenobites get taken out by the Cenobite doctor way too easily, way too quick. But whatever. I mean, those movies aren't
Yeah, but you want to
intended
jump
to
up.
be Freddy versus Jason.
You want to jump up and cheer because Pinhead is like, he just realizes and he's a badass and he's like a formidable, opponent. Like right when he walks in and you see him turn his head, you're just like, as a viewer, especially when I first saw it, I'm just like, oh man, this guy fucked up now. And then of course, he gets taken out way too quick, which I agree. But I was just like, that's like one of oddly enough, one of my favorite horror movie moments is when he's like, finally he realizes he wasn't always this Cenobite person. But
Yeah.
that's like pivotal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, I guess mainly just for eye candy's sake, it's a bummer that that fight scene is so non, action. It's like
Yeah, it's
the Cenobites get
underwhelming.
taken out so freaking easy by a guy who's been a Cenobite for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of cool stuff in that scene. That whole, I just never realized. I had forgotten, I guess, just how much performance Doug Bradley puts into that moment with no dialogue. Just him realizing that he was this guy in this picture and all that stuff. And then you get the cool visuals of what all the Cenobites looked like when they were human. And my favorite being that Chatterbox was a small kid.
Yeah, he's a little boy.
Yeah. On Twitter, I said it was Devon Sawa.
And he liked your tweet.
Yeah, and Devon Sawa liked the tweet.
Oh no, nice. Oh, that's awesome.
It was.
But so yeah, I love that movie. Man, I just so much I had forgotten about it. But I think my favorite part of that whole experience is Joe Bob just trying to figure out what the hell is going on in the movie.
Yeah, it did take me out for a second because he's asking Doug, and it's clear that it sort of took out the illusion that they sit and actually watch a movie because Doug was like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't remember. And it's like, where he's supposed to be giving off the impression that they're sitting there watching it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously they can't make the guest sit there for 2.5 hours while he watches the movie and talks. They probably give them notes or tell them to watch it ahead of time and stuff. But it was funny because Doug was like, I don't know.
Yep. Yep. Still awesome. And then like Hell Comes to Frogtown. I hadn't seen that in forever either. So that was fun getting to watch that
almost
again.
every week this year there was like one I've seen and then one I haven't. So I've seen a lot of new stuff. I'd never seen Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh, nice.
So that was new.
Yeah. And like I kind of forgot, like honestly, if you watch that guy's other movies, the director who made that movie watches other movies, I kind of forgot how big of a production value Hell Comes to Frogtown is. Saying that like after seeing the movie and not having the context, you probably think, no, not really. It's pretty low budget, and it is. But it definitely comes off way more of a production than most of the guy's other stuff. So
Yeah, when I was watching it, all I could think is like, man, Andy's missing out because I know he's already in bed by now. And I assume you're familiar with Hell Comes to Frogtown, right, Andy?
Yeah. Sandal Bergman, Roddy Piper, and Piper's like I've only seen it once, but I need to pick up does Vinegar Syndrome offer? Did they release that, or was it like Synapse or something?
Watch it with Joe Bob on Shudder,
I
man.
remember.
Okay. But yes, I have seen it before, and he's the only male around, and
Right.
and basically his name is Sam Hell, and yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, Hellraiser 2 was one of those movies in high school where like my friends who weren't big into movies would come over and they're like, they'd bring a friend or like a girl over and they're like, dude, show us something crazy. And I'd be like, you ever seen Hellraiser? They're like, of course, which, it's one of those movies like Friday the 13th. Everybody's like, yeah, I've seen it. And they really haven't. But they do the recap at the beginning of Hellraiser 2, which is one of my favorite parts because it reminds me of like a bad 80s sitcom when they're like, previously on Growing Pains. And it's like, previously on Hellraiser, and they sum up the whole entire movie in like 3 minutes. It's like how often do we get that at the beginning of horror sequels anymore? We don't at all, really.
Yeah, don't at all. Yeah.
So it's almost laughable when you rewatch it. That's the only part that I think is funny. But I would show this one just because it's such a gross out, violent, balls to the wall, crazy movie. It really doesn't. It doesn't. It packs a lot of punch. It doesn't do a lot of cutting. So.
Yeah, the thing with the scene with the straight razor still just makes me just
God, I was
quiver.
thinking of that,
Just God. Ugh.
Yeah, that scene still freaks me out, gets under my skin. No pun intended.
I think Joe Bob was even saying something about the actor castrating himself on accident or something?
They were saying that, and then because that's what what's her face said.
Yeah, Ashley Lawrence.
I don't know. I think what they meant was that they filmed a shot of him castrating himself.
Yeah, I was sort of confused too. And Nikki asked too, and they're like, and he said something about using that take. And I don't know if that meant, like he actually cut himself and not actually castrated, but really hurt himself, or that, like you said, they filmed it and just didn't end up using it because it was too much. But either way, that scene is horrific.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
The combination of what he sees and then what he's actually doing.
Yeah.
Both his reality and the real reality are both gross and disturbing.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out which one's worse.
Yeah. And then I haven't watched a ton of movies because I actually started watching Baskets, the Zach Galifianakis series.
Yeah.
I've been marathoning through that finally. What's that?
What's that?
He plays a clown.
Have you not seen it?
I don't know anything about it.
I could have sworn you've told me about it before.
Baskets?
Yeah, it's called Baskets. Stars Zach Galifianakis. He's a clown.
Let's say who plays his mom. You got to bring that up.
Oh, absolutely, because it's
the best performance.
The show. That's right. Louis Anderson plays Zach Galifianakis' mom, and as much as I love Zach Galifianakis and as hilarious as he is in this show, Louis Anderson steals the show. He is amazing, like funny and yet heartwarming, and it's such a hard show to describe because it's total Zach Galifianakis humor, to the 10th degree, but at the same time, there's like so many like heartbreaking or heartwarming moments in it that you just don't expect from a show about a guy who goes to France to become a clown and flunks out because he doesn't speak French. Anyway, so really the only movie I watched was going to be my Insane's pick, but I hated it, so it's not going to be. I've been looking forward to this movie ever since I heard it was made like a year or two ago or whatever, because little backstory. I mean, obviously everybody knows I'm a huge George Romero fan, but that is like filtered into the fact that like anybody associated with George Romero or anybody associated with Pittsburgh and they make a movie, and I love and follow all that stuff. So like John Russo, all of his endeavors that he's ever done since Night of the Living Dead, I follow and love both ironically and unironically. But so he put out a new movie not that long ago, called My Uncle John is a Zombie, where he wrote, directed, and starred in it. Where he plays Uncle John and he's a zombie, and stills and clips I've seen from the movie, I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. This looks great, but it sucked. Like, I'd rather watch his Santa Claus movie than watch this again. And it's got Russell Streiner shows up, and again, he plays a priest. I don't know why John Russo always writes priest characters for Russell Streiner, but whatever. Debbie Rochon is in it, and they've worked together before because she was the lead in Santa Claus. Sarah French, Tiffany Thiessen. So it's got some cool people in it.
Kelly Kapowski was in it.
Who?
Tiffany Thiessen, like Tiffany Amber Thiessen, like.
Oh no. Who do I mean? Jason? Shepis. Thank you.
Oh, Tiffany Shepis. You said Tiffany Thiessen. I'm just like, Kelly Kapowski's in a fucking zombie movie?
And obviously, in typical, Russo fashion, he's got to cling on to Night of the Living Dead as much as possible. So there's a shit ton of Night of the Living Dead references in this movie. And it's weird because in the movie, Night of the Living Dead is a movie, yet the event, they keep talking about the things that happen in Night of the Living Dead as if it was actually, that it actually happened. Because at one point they interview, and it's actually the actor who played the sheriff in Night of the Living Dead, and like in the movie, he is up for prosecution because 40 years ago he killed that guy Ben when he really wasn't a zombie. So now he's being persecuted for it, and blah blah blah. And it's just bad. It's just bad. The worst part, the biggest crime of it for me, is the fact that structurally the narrative is all over the map. You have these like redneck characters that are going around hunting zombies, and Debbie Rochon is one of those redneck characters. You have like this, I don't even know what it is. It's like a farm, I guess, for zombies where people can come and shoot at zombies and kill them. But yet there's this whole subplot of zombie rights going on. And there's all this like intercut of news footage and fake commercials and all this stuff. And it's like, there's no freaking story going on. It just keep jump cutting to all these different things. And like just seeing Russo in the zombie makeup and he's a withered old man as it is. He looked like this cute little sympathetic like zombie. And I thought that was the direction the movie was going to go in. And apparently he's this big celebrity because he's this zombie that retains his faculties and can talk and whatnot. And he's kind of the poster child for zombie rights and all this, and for a while it's like, okay, yeah, I can get behind this. I can get behind his character in this. But then like all he ever talks about is wanting to have sex with live women. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I was extremely disappointed, and this is coming from a guy who who loves the movie Majorettes. So that's all that I've watched.
All right. Well, I guess, have we done, Andy? Have you done what we watched yet? I think I just went first and screwed up my whole order. So
yeah, it's just been you and me so far.
I haven't gone yet.
Okay. Well, Andy, what did you watch?
I also watched Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and I thought it was really, really good. Yeah, it did. And all I got to say is man, it's just, I knew that he faced a lot of adversity because Mark Patton was gay. Because we learned we only really kind of scratched the surface because with Never Sleep Again, that documentary. But this really was kind of like a deep dive into what his life was like after that, and I really had no idea what he was facing, and of course it being 1985 and people were very ignorant about HIV and such, and just But yeah, that was very, very, very interesting, and I thought it was very. I thought it was very entertaining, and it was also very heartbreaking to to hear what he went through, and just yeah. I mean, I personally would really like to meet the guy. I think he's a pretty brave dude. I also watched another one of my favorite documentary filmmakers. He's made three very, very, very cool documentaries about movies, and this one was called Machete Maidens Unleashed, and it was about the a lot of the films that were made in the Philippines, and just basically how it was almost like anything goes there. You get a lot of interviews with Roger Corman, which I always dig, and you get to see and it was bittersweet because you get to see Sid Haig, and he's healthy, and he's talking, and he's just very informative, and they talk with Pam Grier, and just a lot of really good information, and plus Electric Boogaloo is probably my favorite documentary of all time. I could literally watch that once a month and still just be as as entertained as I watched it the first time. I also, from Vinegar Syndrome, I had some stuff come in, but the one I want to talk about is Patty Hearst, which, if anybody doesn't know what the story of Patty Hearst is, she was an heiress to the Hearst publications, and she was kidnapped back in 1974 by this radical army, and basically she became kind of brainwashed, and she began robbing banks with them and doing all this and that, and it really took her like years to like get back to normal, because she swears up and down she did it to survive and not get killed by them, because she was held for ransom and the ransom never really got paid. So it's a really, really actually a really good drama, and Ving Rhames is in it, and William Forsythe, which is hilarious because all these people in this, I guess, army, if you want to call it, all of them are white except for Ving Rhames, who runs this thing, right? And you hear William Forsythe, which I will watch anything that he's in. He just goes, "Man, I just wish I was fucking black, man. I wish I was fucking black." And I'm thinking to myself, this day and age, like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And there's like this really hilarious scene where William Forsythe goes into a bathroom, and he puts on like this Jerry curl wig, and he paints himself all blackface, and he starts acting black. He's like, "Hey, what it is?" I mean, he's actually literally trying to act. And this is like 1974 when he's doing this. It's hilarious. Patty Hearst was played by Natasha Richardson, and now correct me if I'm wrong. She was married to Liam Neeson, right? And she
I have
passed
no idea.
away. I think that's the case, but yeah, in terms of like just a biography movie, it's actually, in my estimation, really, really good. Paul Schrader directed it. Which he did Hardcore and American Gigolo, and I think, did he write Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, I really recommend it. It's actually a really good movie. I also watched.
I'll have to check it out because I was always fascinated with the Patty Hearst story.
Tanya.
What's that?
Well, that's what they made her change her name to. Everybody changes their name once her name was Tanya.
Well, I first really became interested in the story once she started working in John Waters movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's been in like all of John Waters movies from Hairspray on. Yeah.
I watched a Lucky McKee produced movie called The Lost, which it starts off, pretty good, and then it slows way down, and then at the end it just gets, completely nuts. But it's basically about this guy named Ray who works at a hotel that his mom owns, and basically he's kind of like a serial killer. That's what but it's like it's set during modern day, but he's kind of dressed as like kind of like a rockabilly kind of guy. He's like the guy from Slumber Party Massacre 2 without the huge driller guitar. But the thing that drew me to this, because I got it like cheap at like some video stores, like D. Wallace Stone was in it, Ed Lautner, Katie Cassidy was actually in this. Like she was very, very young, but yeah, I mean it was okay. I mean, it just gets I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but Jack Ketchum's The Lost, and it was written for the screen, produced and directed by Chris Silverstone. But Lucky McKee and Mike McKee were involved, so I was just like, oh, hell, it's cheap, and I'll give it a shot. But, meh. Last one I want to talk about, and it's not a horror movie per se, but the guy who made it was also the writer and director of Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99. For his name, Craig Zayer. And it's called Dragged Across Concrete. Not bad, but I actually prefer his two previous movies a lot better. There's, I think, like Jennifer Carpenter was in here, and there was a scene with her not wanting to leave her child behind, and then she dies like 5 minutes later. I mean, it just seemed like it was unnecessarily long. So, no pun intended, it actually drug.
It's really, it's like 2.5 hours or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got Michael Jai White, who's like, can do all this karate stuff, and I don't think I ever saw him get out of a car. Well, he got drug out of the car, and then he got shot, and then he and you had Don Johnson was in it for only for like 5 minutes. The main focus was on Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and it really, to me, it just kind of fell flat. But probably won't.
I've been looking forward to watching it. Yeah.
I would say
hopes have gone down. Yes.
Well, give it. I mean, I always say give everything a chance because
Sure.
preferences are different. But my initial thing I want to say to you is say no. It's, to me, it's compared to his previous two films, pretty darn bland. Man, sorry, that's what I get. I don't really like to say crappy things about stuff, but yeah, just
didn't do it for you.
Yeah, not so much, but yeah. That's all I got, folks.
All right. Well, I guess that leaves you, Jason. What did you watch?
Well, I watched Hogzilla, loved it. Scare Package. It was really nice getting to see that movie, and it was awesome. I just didn't know anything about it, and then it popped up, and this whole time, Mike and I have been huge fans of Chris McEnroy.
Yeah,
huge fans. All his films has been in our film festival, and we just love him and his sense of humor. Like we just know he'd be a fun guy to hang out with. And then, bam, one of his shorts, or he gets to do one of the
segments,
and it was freaking the best one. It was awesome. I watched from 1961 Bloodlust, and from
sweet
1987 Time of the Apes.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
You enjoy those without the riff tracks?
I wouldn't know. I only watched them with the riff tracks or MST3K. No, I would not enjoy them without those guys. Of course.
Wait, which one's Bloodlust?
Bloodlust is directed by Ralph Brook. It's got Wilton Graff, June Kent. This isn't helping you at all. Two couples are on a boating trip when they come across an uncharted island. The four investigate and find themselves in the clutches of Dr. Albert Ballow, whose hobby is hunting both animals and humans.
Oh, so it's a
Dr. Moreau type.
Most Dangerous Game type.
Yeah, that too.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't what I thought it was. No. There was maybe what the heck is the name of that movie? It's like I think Dennis Hopper's very first movie. Where
Lust in the Dust. Just kidding.
What? It's Night Tide or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna never mind.
I also watched. Yeah. I watched Judd Apatow's new movie, The King of Staten Island. It's basically the Pete Davidson story, and it's fucking great.
I loved
it. You didn't love it?
No.
Oh, I loved it.
What do you guys feel about that guy that plays the lead from Saturday Night Live?
I love Pete Davidson. I actually have been a fan of his on SNL. I've liked him on there and felt like he's been underused and misused on there. And they basically make him play the same character over and over again. And I liked him in this enough, but I wanted it to be more like, I don't know, more. It didn't really hit my heart like I wanted it to. It felt like there was some subplots that were just unnecessary. And Apatow sometimes does that with movies he directs. He makes them a little longer than he needs to, and he doesn't cut off doesn't trim some of the fat that he could. I mean, I didn't hate the movie by any means. I love Bill Burr. He was good in it, but I just didn't love it as much as I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to because the cast is so great and the trailer was so good and yeah.
I still recommend it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I did binge F is for Family. I forgot about that though.
Yeah, the new season I did that too.
Yeah, Bill Burr is great.
Mike saying he's not a fan of Pete Davidson.
I mostly just know him from Saturday Night Live, and maybe that's because of what Tad said that he's misused. So
yeah,
I mean, this is his second movie role, so
his first
because he was in The Dirt. Motley Crue's The Dirt.
Yeah, I guess third. Yeah, I guess because I forgot he's in that. He did a movie called like something Adolescence on Hulu, and it was like an original movie where he sort of plays himself too. Yeah. And you know, this is like a semi autobiographical movie, sort of about him in real life because his dad really did die in the Twin Towers 9/11.
Oh man!
And lives with his mom.
How autobiographical it was.
Yeah, he still lives with his mom. He like bought this huge place, and his mom lives upstairs. He lives in the basement. It's very close to his real life.
Mm-hmm. I also watched Be Water. That was fantastic. I also have you guys watched much on the new Night Flights Plus app?
No, I need to.
I've watched some stuff. Obviously, I went straight to the Residence.
Oh yeah,
stuff. There was also a Dr. Demento episode segment, I guess, which was really cool, except for it like cut off the last music video just abruptly. You know, I hate that crap. But and then there was a time I passed down on the couch and just let a regular episode play. Oh my god. Freaking love Night Flights. Oh,
especially when they had the old commercials.
Yeah.
Original commercials.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I watched a bunch of the episodes of the old Dynaman episodes that I used to love. So
yeah, if you're over 40, you might miss Night Flights. It was a great channel show. And anyway, I watched first thing I watched on there was just a concert. It was a Dinosaur Jr. show called Bug. They played the whole album Bug live at the 930 Club, and it was kind of cool because they let it be filmed by fans. So they handed out like a dozen cameras they had, and then invited them back, and they like gave them cameras, and the footage of the show was from the fans, and it turned out pretty kick-ass.
That's
cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, editing it all together turned out pretty neat.
Nice. I like that.
And they had them all over the place, you know, some bunch up front, side stage, a balcony, and yeah, and they even like when the film started, they like introduced all the cameramen who were just fans, people.
Oh, cool.
It was really neat. So as if you were to be one of them guys, it had to just be the greatest thing ever.
Do they get directing credits?
They might. I also watched, I think it was on Prime, At the Drive-In. It's also the name of one of my favorite bands. But
Was that one of the drive-in documentaries?
Yes,
Cool. Was it good? I've been meaning to click on those, but
I loved it. It's called At the Drive-In, and it's just about a drive-in in Pennsylvania that's pretty famous nowadays, but it wasn't, and kind of shows how it kind of was right at the death's door, and then a couple nerdy kids wandered on and teamed up and took it over and turned it into something. And yeah, it's really cool and inspiring, and it's neat to see all the misfit kids come together to support this awesome thing out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and the drive-ins are back, baby.
That's right.
Among
That's free
with
on Prime.
social distancing, it makes sense.
yep.
I too watched Good Boy. I thought it was good. Boy. I on Disney Plus, there's basically the coolest thing that's ever happened. There used to be this show on IFC called Dinner for Five. I don't know if anyone used to watch that short-lived show with Jon Favreau. It was amazing.
It was amazing, and there might be a little bit of inspiration of the show from that show.
Oh, I think 100%. This on Disney Plus, there's a show called Gallery, and it's basically an 8-part series broken down over about the Mandalorian, and it's Jon Favreau sitting around a table with all the directors, all the effects people, the cast in several different settings, and then they really interview. It's just it's a really awesome amazing behind the scenes stuff for the Mandalorian. If you like that show, I don't know how you couldn't. I definitely recommend it. It's super cool because it combines the best of both worlds, an amazing behind the scenes show with a Dinner for Five kind of vibe. It's so cool.
Yeah, the documentary type stuff that they're doing on Disney Plus is so good. I finished the Imagineers first season over the weekend too. I love that, and I love prop culture. The only problem,
prop culture was so good.
Yeah, the only problem is that it goes by so quick, and then you're like,
it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, you're like, now what? Now what? I want more.
I don't know. The one that got me on the prop culture one was the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids episode.
Yeah, that was the first one I watched.
Because they interview freaking Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
right.
No one talks to him anymore.
He hasn't been in front of a camera in decades.
And he was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's cool to see in the Honey, I Shrunk the Who Framed Roger Rabbit one, they go get their hair cut, and there's a lot of cool things on that show that, obviously it's I don't even know how to explain it. The way it's filmed, the host is sort of corny or whatever, but you can tell he's a big time collector. And they show that opening shot of his house. You see the killer clowns. He has all the original masks and stuff. And man, like I just want an episode of his house, but I know that they have to. There's probably slowly going through his collection and finding things that they can access. And
Who's this?
I don't even know his name. He's just sort of a nerdy collector that hosts a show, the prop collector.
They could go through.
He really sounds like
Sean
the
Clark's
same guy.
house.
He really sounds like the same guy from the Toys That Made Us. Like I feel like it's
the voice.
same,
Yeah,
it might be a guy from that show that's on Netflix. It's amazing. And so being on Disney Plus and watching all that Mandalorian stuff, I got excited and watched Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker again, first time since the theater, and freaking loved it. I love that movie. I love them all. I love it. Then on Hulu, I watched Shirley.
That looks really good.
Yeah, that does look good.
Yeah. The trailer for it makes it look really good.
Uh-oh.
No, it's good. I mean, Martin Scorsese's a producer. Anyway, and Elizabeth Moss is awesome. And no, it's good. It's good. It's just
It's like you're arguing with yourself. Just out with it already.
to me, it was just different than the trailer led me to think it was going to be like. So, but it's
so it
not
was
like
one of
it
those
was super
cases that you went
misleading.
in with an expectation of the movie being this, but it's actually this.
And it's not that it was a big stray. It just felt different than how that trailer, which is amazing, made me feel it was going to be.
Sure. And
So
sometimes
it's not
hard
that I'm
to,
let down. It's just
Yeah.
it was different.
it's hard to get over what your
Yeah.
perception of it is going in.
So it was good. It was still good at the end of the day. It's just a little different. We watched this cool movie called Terrifier.
Yeah, we did.
Had a
Yes,
little
we did.
Netflix party for it, and we had a couple of guys from Terrifier join us. And I'll be honest, those are some of my favorite two Netflix parties we've had. Is when we had cast and crew
People that
members
worked
be
on
on,
it,
because
yeah.
they give it. It's like having your own personal interactive commentary track. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, when are we gonna watch one of your movies?
Ooh,
Soon as it's on Netflix.
You can do it on what's it called? Twitch, and it has a chat function.
That's true. We could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm sure is there a limit to how many people can join? Because the list would probably get. What are you laughing at?
Oh, I sneezed.
Oh, okay. And then lastly, I wanted to save my favorite movie I've seen in the last 2 weeks, The Vast of Night.
I've heard some good things about that.
It was fucking awesome. It's at the dawn of the space race, two radio-obsessed teens discover a strange frequency over the airwaves in what becomes the most important night of their lives and in the history of their small town. It takes place back in the 50s, I would say, and 50s, 60s. So it's very stylized and cool. But I'll shit you not, this is the best dialogue I've heard in a movie in ever. Not ever, but it's incredible. It's the fastest paced dialogue that you've heard in a long time, which you gotta love.
You know, I love that stuff.
Yeah. Super fast paced, super smart, and super cool. These two kids fucking just nail this. Their performances, there's such long takes. It's not a flashy movie. It's just so smart, and the dialogue is incredible. I can't, and the cinematography too. There are some shots that you just follow. It travels throughout a whole town and doesn't cut. And as these kids run from one side of town to the other, and I can't recommend it enough. The Vast of Night.
What's it on?
I believe it's on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
It's so good. Hey, that's what I watched.
I forgot to mention one more before we go back to the actual episode. I was on Shudder, and they have the Etheria Film Festival.
Yeah.
And it's all the shorts, and it's only 128 minutes, but there's some really, really good shorts. A few that were actually playing at SNAF this year too, and all done by female filmmakers. They are, showing all the shorts on Shudder, and it's just put together as one package. So highly recommend that too.
Definitely.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so we better get to the topic at hand. This episode, again, the topic is shot on video. But oh no! First, it's time to play Insane's Games! So for this episode, we will be playing Truth or Dare.
Oh, no.
Just kidding.
Oh, sure.
The game we'll be playing is a game that I call Tag 'em and Bag 'em. So this game, you have to guess if it is a real movie tagline or a fake one. Like tagline on the poster or whatever. You have to be able to guess if it's a real one or a fake one. You'll all each guess, and then I'll tell you the right answer. And then we can go around, and if it is a real one, You get a bonus point if you can guess the movie that it's from.
Ooh.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to start with, we're going to go Jason. Should I mix it up or does it matter?
I think it's just discussion, right? And then we just need to all
I'll
choose
give
one.
the answer at the end. So it's not
Yep.
like, okay. So we'll go Jason, Tad, Andy. Okay. So the first one is give your soul to the dance. Jason, is it real or fake?
That sounds awfully fake to me. So, but to start off with a fake one, I don't believe it. So I got to say this is real.
Okay, so Jason says it's real.
I play the mind games with you, sir.
Tad, is it real or fake?
It's real.
Okay. Andy?
I'm gonna say it's fake.
Yeah, Tad was awfully confident. Like he already knows the bonus answer. Damn it.
It is real, yes. Jason, do you have a guess on the movie?
What was the tagline again?
Give your soul to the dance.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
Prom Night 3 or something?
Oh, that's a good guess.
It is not Prom Night 3.
I said Dance of the Dead.
Oh. It is the 2018 Suspiria.
I was gonna say she's a dancer. Yeah, damn it.
Okay, so next one.
Hey, I got a point.
You do.
That's
You
all
do.
that matters.
The next one. This film. Wait, no, I don't want to do that one yet. This test is either pass or death. Jason, fake or real?
Oh, boy. I'm going to say fake.
Okay. Tad?
I'm going to say fake on that one.
Andy?
I'm gonna say fake.
You are correct. It is fake. All of you get points for that. Next one. This test. Oh, wait, no, I just did that one.
Oh, my God.
I need to put like double
I know the
spacing.
answer.
Okay.
Yes. I'd like to answer.
I can't do this one next because I'm going to laugh.
Oh,
So let's move on to a different one. Black belt versus black magic. Jason?
Ooh. I'm going to say it's true.
Okay. Tad?
I think that one's real.
Okay. Andy?
I'm gonna say that's true.
You are all correct. It is a real movie quote. Anybody got a guess for the movie?
It sounds familiar, but it's probably something I've never seen.
Probably not. Anybody else?
Pass.
I will.
You don't get any extra points for answering this, do you?
Yeah, you get an extra point.
Oh,
if you guess the
okay.
movie.
Okay.
You don't lose a point for a wrong answer, do you?
Nope, this ain't Halloween-a-palooza.
You lose 3.
I'm gonna say Black Belt Jones.
It's a good guess, but it's the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
I almost said that. Almost.
This film will make your unborn child's skin crawl. Jason?
Gross. What's the name of this game again?
Tag him and bag him.
Oh, fake.
Okay, Tad?
Real.
Okay, Andy?
Say it again.
This film will make your unborn child's skin crawl.
That just sounds horrible enough to be true.
Right?
I'm gonna say true.
Jason takes the lead. It is fake.
Yes.
So that means you came up with that, you sick fuck.
That's right.
That's right, I did.
That is what that means.
I mean, it sounds like something from the 70s, like very grindhouse exploitation-y.
And he'll save
Oh,
it
yeah.
for one of his movies, too. So.
Oh, you know it. I will make a movie just based around that tagline. Please don't feed the children. Jason, is it real or fake?
That's real.
Okay, Tad?
Real.
Real.
Andy?
Real.
Very good, all of you. It is correct. It is real. Any guesses on the movie?
Children shouldn't play with dead things.
It's a great guess, but no.
Beware children at play.
That's another great guess, but no.
Oh man.
It's all on you, Jason.
The Children.
You wish, but
I
no.
know.
Cooties.
Okay.
Oh, that movie's
That makes
so
sense.
awesome.
Yeah.
Movie rules.
Let's see. Here we go. Take the stairs. Take the stairs. For God's sakes, take the stairs. Real or fake, Jason?
I feel like you changed it from something that was.
I know the
similar.
real one.
So I'm gonna say fake.
Okay, Tad,
Yeah, that's fake.
Andy.
I feel like that could be like for a movie called The Lift, but I'm still gonna say that that's fake.
It's from the Amityville stairwell.
It is real.
Oh,
And I'm just going to go ahead and give the bonus to Andy because he said the name of the movie.
oh my!
Are you serious?
goodness.
That's what The Lift?
It's from The Lift. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna
Okay,
not
Totally
watch
ripped
that
that
movie.
off. Because I figured it's going to be a movie about a friggin' elevator.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. Warning: the red stuff on your hot dog may not be ketchup. Jason,
Fake.
Tad,
Fake.
Andy.
That's fake as shit, dude.
It's real.
Oh my goodness!
It's from Drive-In Massacre. I wasn't even
Is
going to let
that
you guess.
movie real?
Is it
Is
a
that
real
a-
movie?
Is that a real movie?
That's like a warning for me not to watch that.
That red stuff on your. Oh my goodness!
The last sound you will hear is the chewing of your own flesh. Jason?
Again, I think you took it. You took one you liked, and you decided to fuck with it. So fake.
Tad?
I'll go with real.
Oh,
Andy?
I'll go. Oh, the last sound
I mean,
you
it
hear
sounds
is the
good.
chewing of your own flesh.
Yeah.
Oh, screw it, real.
Jason gets the point.
Oh.
It is fake.
it's too real to be real.
Okay, let's see.
Jason wins.
We'll just do a couple more here. Well, wait. Yeah, we'll do a couple more.
No.
The night no one comes home.
Well, I'm gonna say real.
That's real.
Tad?
Yeah, it's real. It's Halloween 3.
Yes, it is Halloween 3.
That's what I was gonna say too.
I was going to say, but
First.
Yeah,
We
me-
all know it. No, we all know it. We all get a point.
I'd hope I'd get you on that one.
It's one of the best taglines just because it's so cool that plays on the first one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That might be the only thing that plays on the first one in that movie. So.
Well, the first one and the second one, too.
Okay. All right. Last one. Unless we have a tiebreaker. They slime. They ooze. They kill.
Snails. That's true. That's real.
Okay, Tad,
Real.
Andy.
hell with it, real.
It is real. Anybody guess the movie?
Slugs.
Holy balls!
I
Yes,
got her.
Jason got it. It is slugs. That's our game, ladies and gentlemen. Jason wins with 9 points.
Hot dang. Oh,
So you tried to give it away to me, but
yeah, we're used to you winning, so
Yeah.
it just made sense.
Tad had 7 and Andy had 6.
it was a close one.
It was. That was fun.
Tag it or bag it.
Tag it and bag it. Or bag it. Okay, so let's do the movies.
Let's not.
We're going to start off right. Andy, what's our first movie tonight?
Okay. This movie is from 1983, and I think Peter Gabriel said it better, but it is called Sledgehammer.
Now we're gonna have some real fun.
Hey, an orgy! All right, that's what we're waiting for.
You fool that you have.
Hey, let's get started.
Put your shirt on. Quiet. I'm talking about a seance.
slap heard around the world. Sorry.
Okay.
A big sigh, I guess.
let's just see here. Guys, I've been sober for 13 years, and I still am.
Oh, thank
But
goodness.
I
I was worried.
literally got goddamn alcohol poisoning watching this movie from the amount of alcohol in this. It's on like a Hunter S. Thompson, Jim Morrison level. None of these people would have left that fucking house alive, let alone not being with their head caved in with a sledgehammer. With that being said, I will go into the line of the movie because this is the only way I'm going to get it out, and it's from the character John, and he says, "You can ride horsey on my side saddle any day, Schnookums." Made me laugh my ass off. Okay, that being said, Sledgehammer, 1983. It starts off out in the past, and these two people are having an affair, and the mother locks her kid, or the little bastard, as she so affectionately referred to him as, in the closet so they can, go down and get a freak on, and it's just this remote country house, and they end up getting their heads caved in. So 10 years later, a bunch of partiers show up, and in what takes like the longest unloading of the van where everybody's talking, and
The longest.
yeah, and John, Carol, Jimmy, Chuck, Mary, Joey, who gives a shit. So basically, they begin partying like the stupidest human beings I've ever seen in my life. Just the way that they talk, and just like the way they scream and holler, and just if I was there, I wouldn't need the sledgehammer. I'd probably kill them all with my bare hands by some point. I literally wrote down, these guys are fucking dumbasses in taking my notes. This is basically they end up. I believe the character of Chuck ends up giving this seance, like you might have heard in our preview here, and basically him and Joey are playing a trick on them, but the seance apparently actually works, and they bring back this supernatural giant man that fills up a hallway one point, and then he turns into a kid the next, and they're wearing the same outfit. But in between that, there's a guy washing down a sandwich with the leader of Old Crow, which was weird. This movie has the longest door opening sequence I've ever seen. Okay. I could have built the fucking door, the amount of time that it took him to open the goddamn thing.
That's nothing compared to the very first shot of the film that is almost half of the running time, with the shot of the house, just the house.
Oh,
with
yes.
nothing going on.
Yes. Okay,
at least they go back to it 6 times.
It's a goddamn house.
We get it.
It's a firmly established that this is a structure, and it's on the ground. What the fuck? And then when I had to laugh my ass off, because when they're panning across, and they're telling the story about this murders that took place there, and you've got Joey's eyes tracking back and forth, going like this. Serious. Well, if you can stomach watching this goddamn thing again, watch that scene where he's just moving his eyes back and forth. I mean, it's hilarious. His eyes are tracking back and forth, and he's like, seeing if anybody's looking at him. He reminds me of that chick from like the Walk Like an Egyptian video, where her eyes are just going back and forth. It was just like, he looked like really goddamn weird. And basically they're playing a joke over the jukebox, which is so convincing. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's one thing where the killer, he gets his hand electrocuted by some Home Alone Kevin McAllister trick on the doorknob. Apparently it didn't take him too long to open that one. It's weird how this guy can take a meat cleaver to the chest and that does nothing. But when Chuck comes in there with his shirt off and starts throwing punches, these tend to have effect. The kid pimps when the killer turns into a kid and he pimp slaps Chuck. That's great. That's like the best part of the movie when he just slaps the shit out of him. It's great. Yeah, this is a lot of booze in this movie, and the killer's mask is basically kind of like reminded me of Shelley from Friday the 13th Part 3 a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with his curly hair.
I thought that was like the only semi-cool part of this movie. Redeeming part was the killer in the mask.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And Jimmy from or Paul from Hall and Oates, because that's who he reminded me of. He's apparently a virgin.
I wasn't convinced of that. You can't have a mustache like that and be a virgin.
And how any of these guys could be able to get it up with that much goddamn alcohol in their system is beyond me. But a lot of whiskey dick dudes in this house. And when a guy comes in to your room who's supposed to seemingly about 9 feet tall with a sledgehammer, how do when he hits what does he think? How does Jimmy not wake up when the killer grabs Carol and Carol's on the other side of the goddamn bed and you're reaching over him? He must be really drunk. This movie, I remember seeing I've seen the cover before, and with the lettering and stuff like that. But I saw a bunch of dumbasses get killed by a dumbass killer in a dumbass movie.
So you liked it.
So he liked it.
The kid pimp slapping Chuck. He should have slapped the piss out of all these dumb shits. And then he should have slapped himself for being in the movie. But the line "You can ride horsey on my saddle any day, Schnookums" there's a few saving graces, but a lot of that Chuck is trying to be super nice to her. I mean, there was B stories in this where oh, I don't know if I want to be together. Who gives a shit? There's nothing that's going to come out of it. And then Chuck is trying to be all sensitive and one white and says, "Get this shit out of here. I got to go get a beer." And they have the longest lovey-dovey slow motion walk sequence.
Yeah, it's are we just trying to fill screen time here? What in the fuck?
80% of the movie is filling screen time. That's
right.
You talk about
you're really
stories.
Yeah, when you're stretching out scenes for absolutely no reason, just making them slow motion to fill time. Jesus Christ, it's already excruciating. Don't make it slower.
And then all the slow-mos, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's just why don't you throw in the fucking $6 million man sound effect while they're actually tipping back their beer?
That would actually make it funny.
Well, yeah. Hey, I'm trying to work with this turd here. Yeah, all while they're walking this really softcore porn music. That's what I thought it was. It was just it. I don't want to.
When I was watching this movie, all I could think of was I can't wait to hear what Ted says about this movie.
Like Andy said, should have left it to Peter Gabriel because this Sledgehammer is no good. I'm just like, what have we gotten? This is like when I was a kid, my mom would make me take NyQuil when I was sick, and I would like fight it forever, and I would have a glass of orange juice nearby to drink immediately after as a chaser. And man, I got to get through this. This is the most, this show feels like homework sometimes. And that's, movies like this make it feel like homework. But at least I knew I would get some laughs out of Andy's anger from watching it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is Andy's movie. He's going to have a fun time. I mean, Mike, have you seen these movies?
I have not seen Sledgehammer. The reason why I picked Sledgehammer is, well, I can get to it when I say, but it was one of those that I've heard of, and I've always wanted to see it. So
make
the
us
other
all
two
suffer.
I have seen. Well, yeah. I had other ones on my list too that I just couldn't find streaming anywhere. So that would have been better, but
I just don't think this genre is my cup of tea. Like, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I love a good A24 beautiful horror film. It doesn't even have to make sense. This one is on the other end of that spectrum. And I like the music that was in that trailer. If I had just listened to the trailer, if you're listening to this podcast and you listen to that trailer and you think that could be cool, you're wrong. The music was sort of cool. There's like 12 seconds of cool music, and the killer has a sort of cool mask, and that's as far as it goes. If you have seen everything else and you have an hour and 27 minutes left, I guess you might turn this on and give it a chance, but don't do it.
Imagine the pain of
A24, they have a lot of slow-mo scenes in their movies too. So
with purpose. Was this movie? Did I see this movie is touted as the first shot on video film?
There's so many movies that make that claim.
Oh, I thought I saw
it's
this
the
one.
first shit on video.
Hey,
I feel like I took a sledgehammer to the nuts.
I wanted to embrace
pain ratio.
I wanted to embrace this theme today. The shot on video films. I just I need Mike you to answer like
Yeah, you
like,
got a lot of answers.
Yeah. I just want shot on video doesn't have to mean bad movie, right? This one just happens to actually be a bad movie.
Spoiler alert.
You can't say
spoiler alert. Out of the three, this is the one I did not like either. I don't like this one either.
Oh, I like the next
spoiler
one
alert,
a lot more than this one.
Spoiler alert, I like the rest of them on our list tonight. So
I didn't. Yes. I just the movie itself, like it doesn't.
Dude, this is a
bad
gore gang
filmmaking.
This is a gore gang movie. This is a foreshadows movie. This is
high school.
This is what we would do in high school with,
Yes.
It's like, well, we don't need a script. We can just, say we're going to a party, we're going to kill each other. You guys can just ad lib whatever you want during the party scenes to pad it out.
And I felt
that's what this was.
I totally felt that while watching it. So, I mean, I felt like I gave it a lot of grace for that. All of these, because I knew the heart would be there. Because this one's first, I just don't want to think that shot on video means bad movie. Because the shot on video part is irrelevant to how shitty this movie is put together.
If you haven't learned by now that you can, it doesn't matter the format. As long as you are still. You're still. It's the quality of like the story. It's the quality of the script. It's the quality of the direction.
And I don't really mean to shit on the movie, because I'm sure this is somebody's favorite movie out there. I just want to understand. I mean, I just don't want. I feel like you don't want us to think shot on video means crappy made movie.
Oh, I don't.
I don't think it has to mean that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why, to save grace for this particular movie, I've got like a list a million miles long of other movies I
It's
want to
ju-
mention at the end.
Yeah, it's just too bad that this one feels like their first movie they made in high school, even though the guys in the movie are clearly out of high school. And it's just their first, when you're the writer director and your brother's the star, and it just
So it had a
cheap as
budget
could
of
be.
40,000.
I don't believe it for a second. I don't
40 what yen?
$40, and that's okay. I love movies that cost $40. You can still make good movies for $40.
Yeah.
Right.
Trying to think.
It's
Like
just
a 4-pack of blank VHS tapes would be.
It's just a tough watch.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just
just
tough.
so much shit didn't make sense. I mean, I don't care if I've got mechanical problems. What kind of asshole, after you go out in the middle of the country says, okay, yeah, here, take my van.
Yeah, the
Dude.
guy drives off with the van. That
Dickhead.
is the worst. That is the worst excuse to get the vehicle out of the story as much as possible.
I think
Here's
you
an
nailed
idea.
it though, Mike.
Have
Because
the killer take the spark plugs. Done.
it feels like
Fuck.
movies that we used to make in high school, where it's like script, let's just figure it out as we go, and that's what they did, and that's cool and that's fine. This one was just a little tougher to watch.
I'm curious where they parked the beer truck, to supply all the goddamn alcohol they have.
So yeah, I am definitely a huge fan of this subgenre, and I will admit this one's a stinker. There's a couple of moments that I enjoyed. I did have a couple of chuckles. I think I nervously laughed at that same line that you like, Andy, because it comes out of left field so much, and it's from the biggest, bulkiest guy in the whole movie too, Mr. freaking Muscle Mag, poster boy. He's the one saying the line.
I try to say something positive about every film that I have.
Was there any good kills or gore? I thought maybe that a screwdriver.
When I get a chance,
maybe it was neat.
I mean, for what they had to work with, I mean, the gore is just not the problem. It's just
apparently they had $40,000 to work with, so I don't know where that went.
Yeah, it went to the booze budget and the food that ended up on the floor.
Well, what do you think, Mike?
Well, yeah, like I said, it's definitely on the bottom of the barrel as far as shot on video. But a couple moments I did like. I got some legitimate chuckles and some ironic laugh at the movie chuckles. I like how they do the special effects and editing by making it look like the latch is unlocking by itself. Yet, so it's obviously, this killer is a ghost. He goes from adult to child. So why he's even wearing a mask, who knows? And yet there's a scene where towards the end where they lock themselves in the room and the killer has to bust through the door. Well, we've already proven you can magically unlock doors, whatever. Right. My favorite part was the guy playing the tape recorder, the first real kill of the movie with the knife through the neck. Now, it wasn't so much the actual kill, but the concept of having the knife go all the way through the neck and the killer dragging the body by pulling on both ends of the knife to drag the body. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was something cool.
Yeah.
When he ends up hanging by it was really neat too.
Was that paper clips? What was he hanging by?
I don't know.
It looked like paper clips.
Could be.
Like towards the end when the final girl finds him in the closet.
But the thing is, she already discovered him before. Doesn't that kind of take away from like the shock? She's already seen him stabbed in the neck. True. I was just like, okay, hey, there you are again. Now you're just like, I guess, suspended. Okay. Doesn't make you any less dead.
And then the sex scene between Hall & Oates and the one girl.
A three-way?
First of all, because he's a virgin and everything, and so she pulls out this blanket that out of the closet. I'm like, is that like one of those sheets that you put down when your kids wet the bed? Because it was like all plasticky and stuff. And how during the sex scene they would have it conveniently placed over top of any naughty parts. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, she's obviously naked because he's like right on top of her, and there's no clothes, but we're not seeing any boobs or anything. So I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't want to show her boobs on the film. And then when they kill her though, she flops over and her just boobs are right in front of the camera. And I'm like, what was the point of positioning this bed sheet over top of them if she was just going to show her boobs anyway? I didn't, whatever. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Well, one last thing I will say. The reason why I did pick this film is, one, I had never seen it before, and I've heard about it before. And the reason why I've heard about it before is that it's directed by David Pryor, who's notorious for being a bad filmmaker.
Thanks.
Mostly doing bad action films. But a lot of his movies he's like an Ed Wood. He's like, some of his stuff is transcended from bad into cult classics, especially his movie Deadly. He's the director of Deadly Prey. If you guys have ever heard of that, probably not. But it was a movie that has gained so much cult status over the last 5-6 years that he shot a sequel a couple years ago called Deadliest Prey. Yeah. He is also the director of Killer Workout.
Hey.
Yep.
That explains things.
So I'm done. That's Sledgehammer. Jason, what's next?
I was a little curious about the title.
Sledgehammer?
I'm kidding.
Please
work with me.
And you guys listening, you can watch Sledgehammer on Tubi. Is that where we watched it?
Yeah, it was on Tubi.
Or if you are smart, you can just save yourself time, take a sledgehammer, and crush your own dick.
I think their interests are peaked right now. They're like, what's this movie? It can't be that bad.
Drop a car battery on your nuts and be less painful.
Okay, so up next, we got a movie from 1986. It's called Truth or Dare, ? A Critical Madness.
Truth or Dare?
Mike Strauber, citizen of an average middle-class community in the Sun Belt. Aspiring architect. Owns a house with a pool next to a golf course. Has a pretty wife he adores and tries a little too hard to please. A wife who doesn't return the feelings. And is about to start a chain of events that will cause the terrifying deaths of innocent people and eventually her own.
Oh my God! Sharon! I can't believe
Mike.
Now, for the first time, a feature film made exclusively for the home video market first. Not for theaters, not for cable or pay TV. Peerless Films presents a first-run home video feature. Truth or Dare. Critical Madness.
All right, this movie's it's got this character named Mike Strauber, and he catches his wife Sharon in bed with his best friend Jerry, and he gets mad and takes off to embark on an adventure of murder and self-mutilation in demented games of Truth or Dare.
Sharon,
man,
she was sharing something, all right.
What's
Hey.
funny is that I know you read this off IMDb because I'm on here too, and that is like that's what someone wrote for this. That's just yeah.
Yeah, someone figured that out enough to be able to write them 2 sentences. That's pretty
He
good.
gets mad and takes off.
Yeah. I thought his acting when he caught his wife was maybe his best acting in the movie. He does all the faces in that door. Ooh. And then he comes back in and goes, wait, Jerry. Yeah, this is a pretty crazy movie. To me, it had a lot of what's that? Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 feel to it.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
I was gonna mention that
Because he just goes crazy and just starts fucking killing people because of his own shit.
Just whoever
In his
crosses his
brain.
path, it's just they're gonna die.
Ooh,
It's not nearly as cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes all Elliot Rogers on everybody. What a dick.
Just no cool garbage day quotes. That's all.
And I'm sorry. I know you guys are gonna shit on this movie. I like this one, and it's kind of one of the reasons why I like it. It's just a crazy dude going on a rampage.
Yeah, that is something, I like it better than Sledgehammer. I don't love this movie by any means, but at least it's to the point and simple, and you can just turn off your brain and watch it.
It gives you entertainment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little
Whether
upset.
it makes sense.
I was a little upset that when he was in the mental institution and the guy put the grenade in his mouth and I didn't get to see it explode.
You saw it explode.
It does.
I must have missed it then because I was just like,
because it was a super fake rubbery mask head that
the head kind
blew
of just
up.
flops up.
I didn't see it then. I need to go back.
Yeah, you missed it.
You need to watch this again, sir.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
They say this has a $250,000 budget. Are you kidding me?
I saw that too.
Now, let's give it some credit, because
why?
Don't they wreck a car in this? Oh, and
that's true.
They wreck a car. They burn down that shed. So
they wrecked a couple of cars, didn't they?
There's obviously a little bit more money and production value in this than definitely Sledgehammer. So I feel like the money was probably spent on some things, and not just the director's coke habit.
The police procedure hasn't changed much from this movie to like now. So you just start shooting inside start shooting at the shack and then set it on fire.
This movie was written and directed by Tim Ritter, who I do know that is a famous SOV guy. So it was nice to at least catch one of his films.
Yep, he's probably one of the more famous of the shot on video guys. He did Killing Spree and Wicked Games, or a couple more of his more well-known films. So
probably my least favorite Ritter in Hollywood.
But this movie's just nuts. It really is just a crazy guy going crazy. There's little to no logic to any of it. He just kind of snaps and it's just, you're like, why are you so mad? And he just keeps going crazy, and then he makes a mask that I guess is cool.
Everything you've said about it is what I like about this movie. I like that, everything, the fact he's in a mental institution, yet he still manages to have a knife and a hand grenade.
Right? Doesn't make sense.
Grenade.
I love that.
Where's he hiding? Where's he hiding?
Or was that real? Or were they real?
I don't know.
The two people that were in the room.
This movie obviously seems to be from his perspective. I mean, he's the protagonist of this movie, and it covers most of his life. So maybe it's an untrusting narrative there.
Oh, absolutely. I think so, because I thought half the characters weren't actually there,
and that's proven by that campfire scene when he starts to go nuts.
Yeah.
And he has that truth or dare session with the girl who's not really there. We know she's not really there.
So if you set up this kind of storyline, I mean, it's one of those kind of movies where hey guys, it's our chance to just do any kind of kill we can think of. Let's just go crazy.
I thought
Because you really can just invent anything at any time.
the campfire scene was hilarious after he had, pulled his tongue out, I guess, or whatever. And like the Yogi Bear forest ranger came up there and said, oh, well, I guess I'll go get an ambulance, I mean, I'm not going to think about putting pressure on wounds or anything. He just kind of spun around, I'll go get an ambulance. It's like, okay. Wow.
Ted,
Anybody?
you like this one?
Like I said, I don't know. I had some sort of high hopes for this one just because the only time I've heard of it is when Elijah Wood gave it a lot of praise. He was on the Late Show with Craig Ferguson in 2005 and mentioned it was the first horror movie he saw when he was 5 years old.
Oh my
And
goodness. Wow.
it's been because of that, it remains one of his all-time favorites, and he's introduced a lot of his friends to it because of this. So I sort of was like, oh, this could be a lot of fun and crazy, and it is, but maybe I had some high hopes, but it also is like that orange juice that I drank after the NyQuil. I watched this after Sledgehammer, and it probably made it slightly better for me. So,
Yeah, Elijah Woods has mentioned this more than once, though. I've listened to at least two podcasts where he has talked about this movie. One of which was Joe Dante's The Movies That Made Us, where the guests come to the show. They have a kind of like our show. They have a topic, but the guests bring a list of movies to talk about. So it's like the guests are recommending these movies to the listening audience of movies that mean something to them in one frame or another. So, and even on that show, Elijah Woods brought up Truth or Dare. Just think, if we didn't have Truth or Dare, we wouldn't have all those cool movies that Spectre Vision has made.
Yeah, and if you're listening, I guess now's the time we bring in Elijah Wood. Elijah?
Hi, I'm Elijah Wood.
That was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't hate it, didn't love it, but it was fun. It's just a fun way to pass an hour, I guess. It wasn't too bad.
See, and that's the thing. You're saying it's fun. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, and even though there is some production value, it definitely still wears its no budget on its sleeve, and the quality's not very good because it's shot on actually, was it shot on video or was it shot on 16 and transferred to video? I don't remember, but
gross.
I know, right? Super 16, I think. But if you were to mix this with it being like a movie you saw in your younger years, much like Elijah Woods or even me, I rented this movie back in the day just based solely on seeing that cool box on the shelf. It was a box that was just the title only on the box, but still was extremely captivating. It was an all black box with the title Truth or Dare, in this like poofy chrome on the cover, and with the blood dripping on the bottom of the letters with that razor blade at the very end, at the very bottom. And so it definitely caught my attention at the video store. And I remember watching it back in the day and just thought it was like the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And just the fact that what Sledgehammer does wrong is it's boring at the end of the day. It's boring.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. It's boring because it is nothing but padding. You're seeing 20, 30 minutes of people, doing like Robert Altman type dialogue where everybody's just talking over each other. And it's no point to any of the dialogue. and then tons of slow motion scenes, tons of shots just lingering on things.
As much as that unpacking the van scene reminded me of our film Legend Has It, it still went on 5 times longer than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and at least still in our dialogue, though, it had stuff to do with the story.
They were clearly stretching.
It was
just filling.
It was all just like, here, you guys unpack the camera or unpack the van and talk about what you want. But in Truth or Dare, it's definitely far more entertaining because there are things going on. It's not bogged down with a ton of exposition. It's not. It's not. I mean, in dialogue form. I mean, there's obviously a lot of backstory going on here, and it's not full of padded scenes that serve no purpose to the movie or story or whatever. It just definitely gets straight to the point and it's just that. Yeah. Is it an amazing plot? Is it heavy on story? No, but it is.
That's just where I think it
fun,
suffers.
Crazy romp.
It suffers the most in its writing because it's not good writing
in like dialogue or story. Like I'll give you dialogue, but I don't care. Story. It's like.
And that's what I mean. Like, yeah, sure, scene to scene, the scene's great. It's too. I mean, it's just shit happening to be happening,
and
it's like,
you know what? That's not always a bad thing. Yes, it's not. I would never read the novelization of Truth or Dare. But so I understand what you're saying. And I agree with you. But it's like movies like Dread or Punisher Warzone, where it's just dumb, actiony, like flashy stuff in your face for an hour and a half. And to me, that's what makes Truth or Dare fun and cool. So, and the fact that this will be the last thing I say, and then you guys can finish up. But that and the fact that AJ McLean from Backstreet Boys played Little Mikey in the flashback scene.
Oh, no idea.
I thought you were going to talk about how awesome that closing song, "A Critical Madness," was.
Oh, that was cool.
Was it? No, it wasn't. It was terrible.
That's where the money for the production
might be. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say AJ McLean was the kid inside the baby carriage that got run over.
Oh my goodness, they didn't.
That's the thing. They don't pull punches.
No,
like when that
awful.
When that car hits that baby carrot. I mean, you see it. I think they do a slow mo on that, don't they? And you see something fly out of that baby carriage. It's not like they want you to know that there was a baby in there.
And then he backs up and then runs over mom. I mean, just like, my God, this guy's not fucking around. Good stuff. Good times.
Wait, so did you like it, Andy?
I liked it better. I'm kind of like on the same wavelength as everybody else is. I liked it better than the last one. I mean, at first I thought it started off, really kind of slow with him, just reminiscing about, why his wife would have cheated and just kind of being a whiny little bitch. And I was just like, okay, this is dragging. Can we go? Maybe he can just get into convenience store and then lose his shit there, after somebody mouths off to him. And then, okay, let's just go. I don't need to see waves. I know what the ocean looks like. But yeah, as it kept going on, like when he got out to, the campfire, I was just like, okay, yeah, he's just I can see why she cheated on him. This guy is just, batshit fucking crazy. So yeah, I can work with batshit crazy.
And I really like the head police guy, the police chief or whoever he was, the old curmudgeon guy. That I liked him. I liked his performance. I thought he made me laugh.
Old cops are always pissed off in these movies.
Well, especially when your other officers just dressed in a Hawaiian shirt doing stupid stuff for the whole movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a fairly okay version on YouTube. You can watch this for those of you playing at home.
Yep. Okay, so that is Truth or Dare: Critical Mass. I was looking at Tim Ritter's IMDb page, and apparently there's 5 of these.
What?
Yeah. So now I need to watch all of them. But before I do that, Tad, what's our last movie we're going to talk about this episode?
Our last movie is Winners Tape All, the Henderson Brothers story.
The actress we cast is Michelle. That was a tough one.
No, we didn't cast Amber. I asked her to do this movie because we both worked at Waffle House.
In the 1980s, the Henderson brothers blurred the lines between Hollywood and the backyard.
And I said, honey, we're going to destroy those clothes. You know that. We told you ahead of time. So if you watch the movie again, she's wearing a dude's shirt. Though, offset, I do remember her being a very sweet girl, and quite frankly, her funeral was very sad.
Now they're looking back on their work thanks to their biggest fan.
You ever just see a movie and it changes your life? These 2 movies changed my life.
I was real obsessed with my legs, too. I like showing off my legs and my body, which I thought was fantastic. I pretty much thought everything was fantastic. And yeah, rewatching these films, nah.
You stabbed your last man, stabber man. I didn't even need a stunt guy or nothing. That was all me.
Say hello to your family in hell!
Now, the blood spitting, I love. That is incredibly important, getting those death scenes right.
When I was about 7 years old, I saw about 4 people die. I watched them as they died, and all of them spit up blood, so that's science.
These movies need to be out there. I mean, there's such great stories that have to be told.
How Todd's supposed to get in my hamburger?
I don't know. I do know I lost my appetite again.
It delivers. It has a lot of heart. And you can tell because there's this scene where the heart gets ripped out and it goes everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of it.
Winners Tape All, the Henderson brothers story. A new documentary, sort of.
Let's shoot it.
I used to be too nice to you.
That's how I used to do it. Let's shoot it. Like I was doing a magic trick.
I did like that.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I did that as time. Let's shoot it. And then I was like, let's shoot like we were shooting stars together. Mm-hmm. That was a good move. I should bring that back.
You've changed, man.
This movie is the story of Michael and Richard Henderson, 2 stepbrothers from West Virginia, who saw an opportunity in the burgeoning VHS market in the 1980s and made their own backyard horror movies, The Curse of Stabber Man and Cannibal Swim Club. Now, this is a mockumentary presented very tongue-in-cheek, but it sort of plays as if it's 100% real, to the point where Jason actually had to ask us if it was real.
I know, were you being sincere when you asked that?
At first, I mean, it was in
Awesome.
the first few minutes.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect you to. There's definitely a turning point at the movie when you
Right.
realize, okay, yeah, this is not. But I'm glad it got you at first, because it got me at first too. When I
didn't
ever watched it, because
it wasn't a real movie.
I was going down the rabbit hole of like watching documentaries about about the VHS era, and I found this one in the customers also watched, where it called Winners Tape All, about these guys who made these type of movies. And I'm like, cool. Not only is this a documentary about the VHS boom, but it's all in the collector's market, but it's also about people who've made these type of movies before. And it took me a little while before I realized, oh wait, no, this is a mockumentary.
Yeah, it's on Prime, and when I pulled it up, I was very excited because I thought it was real. And then I started watching it, and I quickly realized that it was not real. But that didn't pull me out of it. I started watching it and sort of enjoying it. It has some funny moments. I didn't love it. It's probably my favorite of this episode, but it's technically not a shot on VHS movie, even though it's about shot on VHS movies. But it feels like something that you'd see at a film festival. It's pretty fun, and it's tongue in cheek, and it's clearly made with lots of love. And the people that made it are big fans, I assume, of this genre that we're covering on this episode. So it's like I said, it's done with love and respect. And towards the end, it just sort of gets crazier and crazier when they get the budget to make another movie, and they've done spin-off movies and kids movies, and it's just so funny. I was just thinking about that because one of the movies that we watched, what was it? One of them on Joe Bob Briggs the other night, the director went on to, I think the Hellraiser 2 director went on to do like Power Rangers and some dog movie. And that happens so often, like horror directors move on and do kids and family movies and stuff. So there's a lot of funny little nods in this one, but it's a strange cookie for sure. It's like I said, it's a mockumentary, a fake documentary, and done very tongue-in-cheek, very funny. Basically two guys sitting down interview style and talking about the career of Michael and Richard Henderson. So what do you guys think?
I thought this movie was fucking hilarious.
Yay!
I thought those two dudes, I laughed so hard. I don't know which one's which, but the beardy guy, the longer hair with the fake gray on the sides, that dude was so funny to me, and he reminded me a lot of Lip. I don't know.
Well, he was especially when you're
I don't know.
Especially when you're watching the Curse of Stabberman scenes. This is way too inside joke, but when she said that, I'm like, oh god, yes. All the way down to the shorts and like trying to flash his crotch at the screen.
Just the way he talked, and it reminded me of a friend of ours, and so I don't know, maybe that made it more funny, but I thought it was pretty great. I enjoyed, I loved their fake movies, The Curse of Stabberman. So it was such a leap to Stabberman. And then what was the other one? Cannibal Swim Club.
Cannibal Swim
Club. Dumb. It's just so dumb, and so which makes it so much more funny. I don't know. I laughed my ass off.
It's so absurd to think that you can smell a whistle and say, "Oh, yep, that's Todd's whistle."
Right? It's so dumb. I loved it.
Yeah,
but we know people like this, that take themselves so seriously and are so obsessive over little, movies that no one else knows about or cares about. And I thought the guy, the bigger brother with the longer, like pulled back hair, his voice was a little too much for me for the whole movie.
Yes, I agree.
With that accent was a little heavy and hokey, but
I love it though. In the movies, though, he doesn't have the accent,
right? I think they even talk about that.
They talk about that, I think, in a cut scene and during the credits. Yeah, but
yes, it's a lot.
It did make me want to see "I Piss on Your Guts," though.
Oh, I know. That's what I knew. That was the first. I mean,
that's when you.
That's
knew
when
that
I knew it was
fake.
fake. I piss on your guts, and they're just so serious about it. I love all the recreations of these fake films. All that shit is so good.
And it feels
had to be fun to make.
Oh god, yeah. And it really kind of felt authentic to me because I've seen some shot on VHS movies that are very reminiscent of that. I love Walk Time when they're talking about Walk Time. Because that's a real fucking thing. I mean, I think they're the ones to name it, but it's a real thing in these type of movies.
Yeah, we saw it in Sledgehammer.
Yeah, I was going to say Sledgehammer.
Exactly.
Fucking Walk Time. It's a thing.
And I love how this movie takes place, in the woods. They're all camping in the woods, but they never go they just stay always outside the tree line. The whole movie takes place just along the tree line in the same, 10 feet of area. They never go in. They never go actually into the trees at all.
So I felt like as much as we was gonna probably yell at you about this episode, I thought you did good by sparing us 3 of those movies and giving us 2 and a fake one. That was pretty funny. So
yeah, well,
it was easy to forgive you. And I watched them in the order we talked about them.
Oh,
so
nice.
it kept getting better. And then
good.
Yeah.
Well, and I've seen that. I think I've done this as an Insane's pick before. To be honest with you, I freaking love this movie. This is probably about third or fourth time I've watched it, which isn't a huge feat because it's only 62 minutes or something like that. Yeah. But I freaking love it, and I think it's just because it really strikes a chord with. Well, first of all, I love mockumentaries anyway, and when it's a mockumentary about a topic that I like, I've always tooted my horn about Brutal Massacre.
So good,
yeah, such a great movie, and so to me, this taps into another thing for me along the lines of Brutal Massacre. And just my love and nostalgia for movies shot on VHS, or the movies I used to make in high school shot on VHS, and so funny. I like how every time they're talking about somebody that was in one of their movies, we haven't talked to them in years. What are they doing? Oh, he's dead. Like everybody that worked on these movies is dead, except for them. Andy, you haven't said a whole lot.
You guys have mostly said what I was digging about it. I mentioned like the guy smelling the whistle and just really absurd. That's my favorite walking leg. It's just really slapsticky, just nutty shit, and just the fact that they all had to wear sunglasses, implying that they were all high because there wasn't any Visine, and it's very, very, very tongue in cheek, and the overacting pool owner is just he acted like he was. The way his voice was and the way he acted, it almost sounded like it was like from a serial over the radio back in the 1920s. Like, you're not going to get me this time, that kind of shit. And it's just like this is absurd. It's just like you can't take a single second of this movie seriously whatsoever. So I mean, it was desperately needed compared to the other two films we had to watch. So
this feels like a prescribed film. This feels like something you guys would make.
This would totally be something that I would want to make, and I do want to make. I'm going to make
very much your humor and style.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And I love the dialogue in the fake movies. This is so awesome. Like when the heavier set brother is giving the backstory to Stabber Man, giving the legend, telling the legend of Stabber Man, how he ran an ice cream shop and he would poke people with ice cream cones, and then he took it a step further and moved on to a knife. It's so awesome,
ridiculous.
And then Cannibal Swim Club, where it's supposed to be the swim club, but it's obviously just some dude's backyard pool.
Yeah.
That they never go anywhere else in the movie. It's just everything happens at this pool, and it's raining the whole time. Well, that really happened when they were making this. It was constantly raining when they were trying to shoot the Cannibal Swim Club stuff, so they just wrote it into the script. And I'm like, that is such a happy accident, because I think it's hilarious that they made this movie about a swim club and it's raining the whole time.
Let's be friends with these guys.
I really want to.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's Winners Tape All. Again, it's on Amazon Prime. And it's been there for a while, because I think I discovered this movie 2 years ago, maybe. It was made in 2016, so I highly recommend it. And if you don't like it, hey, it's only 60-some minutes long, so you're not out too much of your time. Anyway, I kind of want to throw out some honorable mentions, because again, I do like this genre, and I understand that it's not definitely a genre for most people. There's definitely a nostalgia to it for me. And I love that they lack everything that they lack, especially the ones I really like. What they lack in like script, story, acting, production value, camera equipment, obviously. They try to make up for it and coming up with the most outrageous and imaginative things that they can put on videotape. But some of my favorites are movies like Cannibal Campout. Video Violence is a lot of fun. I definitely highly recommend that one. There's a really cool movie called Darkness, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Truth or Dare in the fact that there's no storyline. It's just vampires are taking over the world, and these people are people are just going around killing vampires for an hour and a half. Dead Next Door is another one of my favorites. And also J.R. Book. I'm a big J.R. Bookwalter fan as it is. And another film that he did is one called Kingdom of the Vampires, which is very, very VHS because I think they just used on-camera microphone on that. So there's a lot of hiss throughout the movie.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Wood Chipper Massacre is a freaking classic. It's hilarious. I put Mad Ron's Previews from Hell on here, even though that's more of a compilation of trailers and stuff. But the wraparound stuff is all shot on VHS. And there's a lot of the wraparound stuff going on. There's one called The Ripper, about this guy who gets possessed by the ghost of Jack the Ripper, going around killing people. And it's pretty bloody. It's got some like guttings and stuff like that go on in it. But the biggest thing, the coolest thing, and the most shocking thing is Tom Savini shows up at the very end as Jack the Ripper. Like, Tom Savini's in this freaking no-budget shot on VHS movie? What the heck? And then, of course, you can't have a list like this without Redneck Zombies.
Yep.
Sorry, Brandy, but I love Redneck Zombies. And then there's the sub genre of the German shot on video movies. You know, I love that stuff too, like Bloody Moon, the violent shit movies, Primatos. So yeah, those are definitely some that I recommend if you can track this stuff down. But just knowing this is definitely not a genre for most people, but
we got to educate.
That's right. That's what it's all about. It's all about educating. And I think like it definitely doesn't really speak to a lot of people who didn't grow up during that VHS era. So that might make it a little tougher.
Yeah.
But again, I'm telling you, man, like what they lack for, and that's you know, I know you asked me this question on why I like bad movies so much, unironically, is because like for everything that they lack that make those movies quote unquote bad, they really try to make up for it by just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And that's what I love about that stuff. A lot of those type of movies are like batshit crazy, or they're just full of gore, or it's just like a 90-minute ride of craziness without any story or plot, but you're still entertained for that hour and a half. So
all day today, I've been trying to think about how to talk to you about it, and I came up with one little analogy that I don't know how well it transfers, but I just think about like in the band world that there are some bands, and I don't want to say their names, but there's a couple bands that I hear people say, "Oh no, they're not good," and I'm like, well, no, they're not proficient at their instruments, and they don't get up there and wow you over like a real band could, but they're trying so hard, and they really come up with stuff that you would never see anywhere else because of their limitations and experience. But it's that effort that really somehow makes me like their music, whether it's technically good or not. But I know that happens once in a while, so I imagine maybe that's similar.
I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't even think of that analogy. But music, that's a great analogy. I mean, I guess I'm exactly the same way when it comes to music, because I listen to freaking Wildman Fisher and shit. But it's like punk music, you know? Think of all these punk bands that had legitimate freaking record deals and whatnot, and some of them can't even play their instruments, really, you know?
But they had their ferocious attitude, and
it's about the attitude. It's about the showmanship. It's always a bit about the showmanship. But then just some of that stuff just resonates with certain people.
Yep.
You know, where somebody's not going to enjoy, you know, the Sex Pistols, but But then there's a lot of people that those songs speak to them, or they just like the tunes. They just like the sounds that resonate from that record. So I like that analogy. I'm glad you brought that up.
All right, good.
So that wraps up our conversation of Sean on video movies. But don't worry, there's still plenty of show to go. We'll take a quick break so you can hear about our network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. And you can check out all 22 shows by going to thepfpn.com. When we come back, it'll be segments time here on Attack of the Killer Podcast. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we are back. Segments time here on the show. It's time for everybody's favorite segment, Shoutouts.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, it's time for shout-outs. And I think that today's shout-outs is pretty representative of... there weren't a lot of shout-outs. I don't think that that's why we're here. We're here to educate and let you know about shot on video films. And we did have a few though. So I'm going to start over on Twitter. We got attacker Brian Godsill at GSIL84. He says, "I can't wait to listen to this episode." Oh, but it's not done. That's all he said. Then over in our group edition on Facebook, Brian J. Godsill says, "I have to go with Truth or Dare by Tim Ritter from 1986. See? We got one. There's a couple more. We got our pal Mike Reeb, the Reebster. Woo! He says, right. Redneck Zombies friggin' rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a redneck zombie shout out. Take that, Brandy. Oh, sorry. I thought I'd pile on since you started it.
She's not a fan. She's not a fan of
people aren't fans.
She's not a fan of trauma in general.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
And for me, she's tried to rewatch Redneck Zombies and still had to turn it off.
And I get that. Give her something better, like Romeo and Juliet or something. Don't do that.
Poltergeist?
No, see, that's why.
Yeah, she saw that one too, and she hated it.
I get it. It's an acquired taste.
I get it with Poltergeist. I do.
And then lastly in the group, we got My Bleeding Ears. Woo! Those guys are cool. It's probably Larry, I'm guessing. You can check out My Bleeding Ears on thepfpn.com. He says The Burning Moon.
Yes. We did that one on the show, right?
Sure.
Like we did we
It's
do
our
that
211th episode. And we've done 100 movies per episode, so I don't remember.
It's the one where it's like an anthology, but then like the last story, the guy goes to hell, and then it spends like 15-20 minutes of just being tortured in hell.
That's all you had to say. And that was brutal.
Oh, I like that one.
You would. Okay, so that's all we have for shout outs today. Don't forget, you can also give us a call, leave us a voicemail. You can call us, and we'll play that voicemail on the show like you heard last episode. It's pretty cool. You can give us a call at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. And that's shout outs. Mike, you know what?
What?
It's been, this show is pretty awesome. And
yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got so many listeners. We got a lot of celebrity listeners, too.
We do?
Yeah. I mean, you have to remember the last 17,000 episodes, we had a celebrity guest come and introduce Insane's Picks. I think
that's right.
We have a surprise for you today. Let's listen.
Hey, how you doing? This is Ozzy Osbourne for Attack of the Killer podcast. Now, you may remember me from Trick or Treat with Gene Simmons. Or you may remember me from all the other albums with the Bark at the Moon and the fucking shows and shit. Now, naturally, they talk about me being the Lord of fucking Darkness, but I can't remember a goddamn thing back in the 80s. I just wanted to play rock and roll, so I'm on tour with Motley Crue and fucking Mick and Tom and Vinny or wherever the hell. So I'm going back to my room and Sharon's not there. And Tommy says I shat on the floor. And as I said, I started picking it up and started smearing it. Now, granted, mind you, it's not a horror movie, but it's pretty fucking scary nonetheless. So, anyway, I'll leave you with that thought in your head, and here's Insane Mark Specs.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Dude, Ozzy stopped by.
That's freaking awesome. Oh, man. So, Insane's Picks, for those of you who are unaware what really this segment's supposed to be about, it's me recommending movies that I like that are, not well known or off the cuff or weird, bizarre, B-grade movies, drive-in double feature films, grindhouse movies, you name it. So, movies that I usually recommend, but I think you guys are probably going to stop taking my recommendations after this episode. But I promise you, this is a good film. This is from 1966. It's called Island of Terror.
Attention, please. I'm Dr. West, and this is Dr. Stanley. Now, we've completed going over Dr. Phillips's notes, and I must warn you that we're faced with a very dangerous situation. Dr. Stanley?
A remote island destined for total destruction.
Listen, if you think there's something running loose on this island, you can't leave me alone.
Tony, this could
Please.
be very...
Don't leave me alone.
I'm not very keen on going down in that saddle again.
Out of an experiment on life came a devastating death.
You look safe.
Science creates. Can science destroy?
Now, this is very difficult to explain, but there are some creatures loose on this island, and they're dangerous.
What do you mean, creatures?
I wish I could tell you more, but we just don't know exactly what they are. Come on, let's get out of here. Listen to me! They're inactive now because they're divided, but we don't know for how long, and we can't stay here, so come on!
Oh, David, I'm so proud!
So am I!
Fiction or fact, this could really happen.
Are you all right?
No!
There's one out here. Into the car, quick!
Can this horror be destroyed?
David, do you really think we can get out of this?
Well, I think we stand a good chance, a very good chance, yes.
But you don't really believe that, do you?
Not 100%, no, but I'd like to believe it.
Can these terrified people be saved from certain death? Fire, bullets, bombs could not penetrate its impregnable shell, but something did. What? See Island of Terror at this theater soon.
It's directed by Terrence Fisher, who directed a ton of like Hammer stuff: Curse of Frankenstein, Revenge of Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, Rise of Dracula, and we would know him on the show as the director of Devil Rides Out.
Yes.
Which we did on our, 1968 episode, I think it was.
Love it.
And many, many, many more films. This movie has Peter Cushing in it, so that's awesome. Anytime when you get one of the classic guys in your film, it's great. This movie, it's about this isolated island and this small community that lives on the island. So right away, I'm getting that Wicker Man vibe, right? It's terrorized by these kind of like blob-like creatures. I guess blob isn't probably the greatest way to describe them. They're like a stingray that crawls around on the ground, but has a skin like a toad. It's like greenish with like warts on it and stuff. But it has this one tentacle that comes out the front, and if you get just touched by that tentacle, you are effed. You are basically have your entire bone skeletal structure sucked out by these creatures, and you are left as this sack of goo, flesh and blood and whatnots left on the ground after they attack. And so Peter Cushing and these other two guys are trying to solve the puzzle on why these bodies keep showing up like this on the island, why people are dying off on this island. At first they think it's a disease, but then they quickly learn that it was like this doctor who was doing experiments to try to cure cancer, but somehow through radiation or whatever ended up making these little monsters that slither around and suck out your bones. So this movie is a lot of fun. It's so great. When it comes to like some of the British horror films of the 60s and 70s, sometimes it's like they're kind of hard to get through because they kind of drag on. Like Hammer films, I really, really want to love Hammer films, but man, some of those movies are just so boring. But this one is definitely entertaining from beginning to end. Yes, it's still rather chatty. You don't get a super ton of these creatures, but when you get into the third act, you won't be let down by the creature stuff. I kind of wish like the first kill right away. There's like a guy goes into this cave area or whatever, and he screams and dies, and you hear the noise of the monster. I kind of wish they would have done that a little differently because I like the idea of for like the first half of the movie, these guys trying to solve this puzzle, thinking that it's a disease. And it would be cool that if it was like the audience was in on that too. Like the audience was right along there with them trying to solve this puzzle. But we know right away from the first kill that it's obviously something, some kind of monster or something that's doing this. So, but the monsters are a lot of fun. I mean, they're not like overly designed or anything. There's a couple moments where you can actually see the fishing string holding up the tentacle in the air. The concept is cool where like if you get just touched by this tentacle, you're screwed. So there's this moment where they're in the lab where these things were being made, and they're surrounded by these creatures. And that's when they discover at that point that the creatures, how they multiply is they split off. They split themselves into two, and they do that like every so many hours where they just, multiply off into two people or two creatures. And then that just keeps increasing their numbers. And the split scene is really cool and kind of gross. You kind of see it like the creature break open, and there's like this green slimy stuff, which looks like it's got spaghetti noodles mixed into it. I think it's pretty obvious it's probably spaghetti noodles, but that mixture is so gross looking. It really adds to the effect of these creatures splitting off and becoming multiple creatures. So and they figure out that radiation will kill these creatures, but they have to infect the food supply for these creatures to make the radiation work. So they take all the cows from this small farming community and infect the cows with radiation, so the creatures will eat the cows. Well, they round up the whole town into like the town square building or whatever to try to protect them. So with the kills, when the monsters attack people, it's fun because you're getting to see an actor trying to convey that this tentacle wrapped around him is alive. Kind of reminds you of in Ed Wood when Bela Lugosi is trying to make the rubber octopus look alive by waving its tentacles around. Really reminds you a lot of that. But it's just a ton of fun. So I highly recommend it. Now, you don't get to see like damage to the people as they're being killed. You kind of see them get attacked, fight with a tentacle, and then you see the aftermath. Now, the aftermath is really cool because it's these rubbery people. The sculptures on these like dead bodies are really cool looking because they look like people with no bones, just blood, guts, muscles, and skin. And they're all with their like slack jawed, wide open, and everything. They're really, really cool looking. That was probably my favorite part every time they came across a dead body. Spoilers, at one point Peter Cushing gets attacked, and I actually shouted out, "Oh no!" That's how invested I was in this movie. But one of the other doctors saves the day by chopping off Peter Cushing's arm. So that was gnarly. That was pretty cool for 1966. So that is the Insane's picks for this episode from 1966, Island of Terror. And you can find it entirely on YouTube. I think Scream Factory did release this because you know how you can get on YouTube and you find like trailers that are produced by Scream. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what I found first was the trailer, but then the whole movie's up there as well. So
Sweet.
You can find the movie on YouTube in its entirety in a good quality format rendition too. But then if you love the movie and you want to own it, you can probably get it from Scream Factory. So that's Insane Picks.
Sweet.
Yep. And that also concludes this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. Sorry, guys. I know this was a rough one for you. I wanted to do this topic for a long time, and I kept putting it off because I knew this was going to be the results. I wish I could have picked a few of the other films for you, but some of these are just so hard to find unless you actually track down a DVD or a Blu-ray of it. And yes, some of these are actually on Blu-ray. Yeah. What's the point? So thanks everybody out there for listening. If you watch these movies, I'm sorry. And until next time, we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Wow.